And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And boy, we have got a terrific show for you. You know what? It's Friday. It's the end of the week. We've got some magnificent things going on. I want to tell you, I just had a magnificent lunch with my good buddy Don Armstrong and Bruce Forge. Got here just in time to walk in the studio, get this show going. But I want you to know that at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time, it is currently 75 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 61 degrees, but we're expecting some thunderstorms tonight, so we'll see what happens with that. And on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then we're going to do our new segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. Now, on today's special show, I'm going to join John Matthews and Joe Hakos on our semi-weekly simulcast of conservative politics. Lots of stuff to talk about today. And David Garrett will be here with his segment, Garrett on the Law. But you know, right now, what I want to do is I want to talk to you about the things that you need to know that are in the news, the 10 top things. We've abbreviated them so we can talk to you all about all 10, then we'll try and get to in-depth stuff with as much of that as we possibly can. This is the 10 things that you need to know that are for Friday. You know, your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today and most likely over the weekend. And right at the top, police fire beanbags and pepper spray to evict pipeline protesters. Cody Hall, a spokesman for protesters opposing the Dakota Access oil pipeline in North Dakota, says that they will continue efforts to block the project. And a plane carrying Mike Pence slides off the runway at LaGuardia Airport. The Republican vice presidential candidate told reporters he's fine and no one on board appears injured. Well, what happened after the acquittal of Oregon standoff leaders? Well, I can tell you, a defense attorney for Amon Bundy was hit by a stun gun and tackled by federal authorities after he kept yelling at the judge, demanding his client be released immediately. And Trump denounces the Clintons as creatures of corruption. Trump seized on newly public emails in which Bill Clinton aide Doug Band describes overlapping relationships of the Clintons' global philanthropy and the family's private enrichment. You're going to hear a lot more about that. And Michelle Obama embraces my girl Hillary Clinton. In their first joint appearance on the campaign trail, the two women sought to celebrate their political marriage of mutual interest and reassure voters that it's real. Yeah. And what Iraqi forces found in a village near Mosul. The troops explored a network of tunnels and uncovered a bomb-making facility, offering a glimpse of the challenge that they'll face as they move closer to the city. And opposition government supporters face off in Venezuela. Government foes are calling for a general strike today, but a powerful socialist leader warns that the military will seize any businesses that participate. And who Trump picked to teach success at Trump University? Well, an AP investigation found that dozens of those hired by the company had checkered pasts, including convictions for cocaine trafficking or child molestation. Wow, that's going to get nasty. And Twitter cuts the staff, kills off Vine app amid pressure to grow. Twitter has failed to keep pace with rivals Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And in recent months, rumors abound that it would be acquired. And then finally, what cranberries are not good for. Well, I can tell you, cranberry capsules didn't prevent or cure urinary infections in nursing home residents in a study challenging persistent unproven claims to the contrary. Well, you know what? You can just about do anything these days, can't you? Yeah. And let's talk about more in-depth stuff. Let's talk about activists are split as Clinton makes a push for the black millennials. 6 months into Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, she met with a group of Black Lives Matter activists in Washington to make her case and seek their support. DeRay McKesson, I should say, left disappointment, feeling Clinton lacked a grasp of the issues. He had spent the previous year protesting in cities like Ferguson, Missouri, and Baltimore, including police brutality and income inequality. He came out of the October 2015 meeting unwilling to support her publicly. Well, on Wednesday, though, the Washington Post published an op-ed by McKesson announcing that his plans to vote for her after meeting again with her last week in Cleveland, he said he heard a candidate well-versed in the things that matter to him. Well, there was no platform the first time, the 31-year-old McKesson said in a telephone interview. There is a platform now, and I reflected on the things that I've heard her say, commit to and seen in writing, and that's how I came to my decision. Well, you know what? So many things are happening, true and false. Who knows, right? Yeah. How about this? The Associated Press says that they took a poll and most believe that allegations about Trump and women. Allegations he sexually assaulted women was one factor that helped her decide in a last week to cast her ballot for Hillary Clinton. I don't think she's a bad person. Trump, I think, is a bad person, the 70-year-old Fort Myers, Florida resident said. As for Trump accusers, Miller said, I believe them. And she said her vote for Clinton is a default. Miller is among the more than 7 in 10 Americans who say in a new Associated Press poll that they believe the women who say the Republican presidential candidate kissed or groped them without their consent. A verdict that may have turned off enough voters, including some Republicans, to add to his challenges in the presidential race. 42% of Republican voters and 35% of Trump's own supporters say that the accusations are probably true. Men and women are about equally likely to think so. Wow. Can you imagine? Do you doubt it? I don't. I really don't doubt it. Not at all. Well, you know what? Thousands of Iraqis are being used as human shields near Mosul. For 3 months, as Islamic State militants ranged across farms and villages south of Mosul, they took Saeed Nahir, his wife, and 8 children with him. The family was among tens of thousands of people that the UN says have been rounded up to be used as human shields. Their forced march covered more than 12 miles, stopping in villages for days or weeks. When Nahir's family finally escaped this week after an air raid and made it to a government checkpoint near the front lines, the children's faces were caked with dust and their feet had been rubbed raw by their plastic sandals. The UN Human Rights Office said today that the tens of thousands of civilians were in the town of Hammam al-Ali, south of Mosul, doubling its population to an estimated 60,000. Man, can you imagine? I can't. Just these troubles are just distressing. That's all that I can think. Just plain old distressing. Let's see if we can't talk about something else. You know what? And I will talk about something else. We were talking about Bob Dylan in prior weeks in the Nobel Prize. Well, I'm going to tell you some more about Dylan when we come back from this break. Dylan says, I want to attend Nobel Prize ceremony if I can. Well, we'll see what actually happens here, but I'll tell you more about the story right after these brief messages. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. When we left, we were talking about Bob Dylan. He says, I want to attend the Nobel Prize ceremony if I can. Well, here's the deal. Bob Dylan says that he absolutely wants to attend the Nobel Prize award ceremony if it's at all possible in December, finally breaking his silence about earning the prestigious honor. The 75-year-old was awarded the 2016 Nobel Prize in Literature earlier this month. In an interview with the United Kingdom newspaper, The Telegraph, that was posted on Friday. Now, Dylan says, isn't that something? And it's really hard to believe of getting the award. The singer-songwriter was silent after the announcement, and a member of the Swedish Academy that awarded him the prize said that the icon's silence was impolite and arrogant. The Nobel Prize award ceremony takes place December the 10th in Stockholm. Dylan is the first musician to earn the Nobel Prize in Literature, so you know what? It's a big deal. And he really should have responded long before this, I think. Sure. Don't you think? Sure. Well, how about this? Supreme Court is to rule in Virginia transgender case. The Supreme Court will take up transgender rights for the first time in the case of a Virginia school board that wants to prevent transgender teenager from using the boys' bathroom at his high school. The justices said today they will hear the appeal from the Gloucester County School Board sometime next year. The High Court's order means that student Gavin Grimm will not be able to use the boys' bathroom in the meantime. The court could use the case to resolve similar disputes across the country, said Shannon Minter, legal director of the National Center for Lesbian Rights. Obviously, for transgender people, the stakes of this case are incredibly high. Whatever the court rules in Grimm may ensure that transgender people are accepted and included in equal members of our society, or as equal members of our society, or it may relegate them to outsiders for decades to come, Minter said. Well, a lower court had ordered the school board to accommodate Grimm, but the justices in August put that order on hold while they considered whether to hear the appeal. Wow, can you imagine? Where does the kid go to the bathroom? If he can't use the boys' bathroom and he can't use the girls' bathroom, does he just go out and find a tree out back? I mean, I don't understand this at all. That's crazy stuff, isn't it? Sure. Well, a juror says the acquittal was not an endorsement of the Oregon occupiers. The stunning acquittal of 7 people who occupied a federal wildlife sanctuary in Oregon was a rejection of the prosecution's conspiracy case, not an endorsement of the defendant's actions in the armed protest, a juror said on Friday or today. But sympathizers who believe such resistance to the government is justified could feel emboldened by the verdict, which might invite more confrontations in a long-running dispute over Western lands. Worried that Thursday's verdict could lead to more land takeovers, Interior Secretary Sally Jewell said today, urged all government employees to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activity. In a statement, she said she was profoundly disappointed in the jury's decision. Well, we'll see what happens, right? I'm not really sure how I feel about it, to be honest with you. Here's more things. There's a talc verdict winner up right now, and money can't make up for lost health. Here's the thing. When Deborah Giannettini was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer 4 years ago, it didn't make sense. She had no family history, nor did she seem at high risk. But months later, when her daughter saw a TV ad for a law firm asking ovarian cancer victims who used talcum powder to come forward, Giannettini realized a possible link. She had been using Johnson & Johnson baby powder for more than most of her life, actually. I used it for 45 years, from age 15, Giannettini, now 63, said today. I was still using it. On Thursday, a St. Louis jury awarded more than $70 million to Giannettini of Modesto, California, wrapping up a month-long trial. It was the third big verdict awarded by a St. Louis jury against Johnson & Johnson in ovarian cancer lawsuits this year. Combined, the 3 awards amount to nearly $200 million. Giannettini said she was happy with the verdict, but it doesn't make up for the cancer fight and ongoing health problems caused by chemotherapy. There's not enough money in the world to pay for fighting the cancer, she said, at a news conference arranged by her lawyers. Well, I can certainly understand that. That's not about money. That's about wrong. Yeah. Well, a new standoff in the pipeline protest ebbs without violence. A standoff between Dakota Access Pipeline opponents and law enforcement over a highway roadblock diminished today without incident, a marked contrast to the forced removal a day earlier of protesters occupying private land. As many as 50 protesters gathered early in the day behind heavy plywood sheets and burned out vehicles, facing a line of concrete barriers, military vehicles, and police in riot gear. But only a handful of people, some of them observers from Amnesty International, remained on the bridge by late afternoon after protest representatives told people to return to the main encampment. Morton County Sheriff Kyle Kirchmeyer described the protesters as non-confrontational but uncooperative and credited Standing Rock Sioux tribal members for helping to ease tensions on the bridge. Kirchmeyer said tribal representatives were allowed onto the private property to remove teepees. Officers arrested one person today, but no details were actually released. Wow, can you imagine? Well, in any event, that's enough of this kind of stuff. The news always seems to depress me. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to make you smile. I'm going to make you feel good. I'm going to tell you about the IRS loses. The first case is a split case, actually. A tax protester escapes the tax for 1 year, but is penalized for other years. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away. Got a lot of fantastic show for you today.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 61 degrees, but we're expecting some thunderstorms tonight. Doesn't look like it. It looks pretty nice outside. But you know what? If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're listening to us in Cleveland, well, you know what? It's 55 degrees and it is clear. On the other hand, if you're listening to us in Chicago, Illinois, where the World Series is about to begin, it's 64 degrees and it's mostly cloudy. So we'll see what actually happens with that. But right now, I'm going to just step things up a little bit. We're going to talk about the IRS loses. And the first case is a split. You know, a tax protester escapes the tax for 1 year, but's penalized for other years. Here's the deal. An individual didn't file returns for 4 years, including the year 2000. Now, when the IRS assessed tax and moved to levy against him, he went to the IRS Office of Appeals. However, he made only frivolous arguments questioning the IRS's authority, so appeals upheld the levy. He then went to tax court, and this is what the judge said. The appeals officer's report said that she was unable to verify that a deficiency notice had ever been sent to the taxpayer for the year 2000. The notice was a requirement for the IRS to collect tax, so it cannot collect tax for that year, but it can collect tax for the other years, and the taxpayer is going to be penalized $6,000 for making the frivolous argument. So you want to be really careful when you do these these things, don't think for a minute that the IRS is stupid. You know what? You can beat them at their own game, but they're not stupid. Matter of fact, always use a licensed professional. They'll save you more money than they cost you. Here's a case for you, though. The IRS lost. Military retiree wins a refund. Robert Vircher retired from the military and drew retirement pay. Now, he then applied for tax-free disability benefits and received them retroactively. He wasn't entitled to receive both for the same period, so some disability benefits were withheld to reimburse the retirement system. But the Veterans Administration, the VA, withheld an amount to repay Vircher's gross retirement pay, not the after-tax amount that he actually received. He said that taking this reimbursement from tax-free disability benefits caused his taxes to be overpaid, so he sued the IRS and the VA for a refund. This is what the judge said. They found for Vircher, using tax-free funds to repay a taxable amount caused him a loss that he is entitled to have refunded. Well, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Everybody they don't care about what's right or what's wrong or what's fair. That's what's going on. Well, here's another case the IRS lost. A husband escapes the tax on his wife's embezzlement. Yeah, you heard me right. A wife stole $40,000 from her employer without her husband knowing. Now, when the theft was discovered, her lawyer told her to report it as income to minimize penalties. But the IRS bars a couple who have signed a joint return from switching to separate returns. So her husband had to file an amended joint return with her. He later said that he shouldn't be liable for the tax due on the money that she stole. But the IRS said he didn't qualify for innocent spouse relief because he voluntarily signed the return knowing the tax was due. He went to court. That's what the judge said. This general rule poorly fits the facts of this case. Equity requires that the husband be granted relief. And doesn't that just make sense? Sure it does. Well, here we are. We're at that segment of the show where we want to be a fly on the wall of the IRS. We're talking about inside the IRS. It's just a little bit like the Twilight Zone. And I'm going to explain that to you right after this. Yeah, now, you know what? This segment, we call it Inside the IRS, it's not tax court cases that we're dealing with. It's things that the IRS is doing currently or have made decisions on that if you know about it, you can use it to your benefit. So here's one of the things that we want to talk to you about. It's when the IRS rejects your offer in compromise. You know, the IRS will generally reject an offer in compromise if it determines that it could collect more money, albeit more slowly over time. You can file a petition with the tax court if you think that the IRS has abused its discretion in reaching its decision to reject your offer. Now, abuse of discretion exists if the IRS employee handling the case fails to consider information submitted to him or her, or fails to follow established IRS procedures in reaching this decision. You know what? There are rules and regulations and guidelines for everything. How about this one? Beware of relying on a family limited partnership to reduce estate taxes. You know, the IRS continues to win cases in tax court, and when the estate claims a discount of the value of securities and real estate held by a family limited partnership. How does it work? Assets are transferred before a parent's death to a family limited partnership, and the parent owns the bulk of the partnership. Now, the balance of the partnership interests are gifted to family members. When the parent dies, the estate takes a lack of marketability discount so that the partnership interest owned by the descendant's estate is worth less than the value of the underlying property held by the partnership. So family limited partnership don'ts. Here's the thing. Don't create such a family limited partnership when the decedent is elderly and infirm and the establishment of the family limited partnership serves no business purpose other than to reduce estate tax. Now, the decedent shouldn't treat the assets of the partnership as his or her own personal property either. So don't fail to legally transfer the title of assets to that family limited partnership. And this seems obvious, doesn't it? But most people fail to do this. And don't forget to follow appropriate investments and business practices with the family limited partnership. Now, changing investment strategy as needed and keeping meticulous books and records is what you have to do to make sure that these things get by. Now, do not go away. We're going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to be with John Matthews and Joe Hakos. We're going to be doing our Simlite Weekly simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate. So don't go away. We'll be right back with John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where 3:33 p.m. Pacific time is still 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 61 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 45 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Paris, France, you know what? It's 55 degrees and it's mostly cloudy, but you're still one lucky son of a gun if you're in Paris, France right now. any place out in Europe would be a great place if you're not afraid of your life, that is. You know what? I will remind you that coming up here any second is going to be our own John Matthews and Joe Hakos, and we're going to be doing our simulcast on the Conservative Syndicate. We do that semi-weekly. We do it every Monday and Friday, and we try to touch bases where we actually combine our shows. My show and his show will become one for about a half an hour, a little bit less than that, and we hit everybody's listeners, his, mine, and everybody, so it's a good deal. I want to remind you also to get our app. It's absolutely free. Go to your app store, search Robert Cardoza Live, and the app will be right there. Download it. It's absolutely free. That way you can listen to our show live if we're doing it like we are right now, or you can listen to any of the archives at your own convenience, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Listen to any of the shows that you want, and it makes it convenient. You know what? And tell your friends about it, please. You know, you'll be glad you did. They'll be glad you did. I can guarantee you that I'll be glad you did. Well, John will be calling in here any second now. I can't hardly wait to get that call coming through, and like I say, it will come through just about any second now. He's generally pretty good about getting in here about 35 minutes after the hour, but his commercial breaks and my commercial breaks, well, you know what? They're not always the same. But later on in the show, we're going to have our own David Garrett. He'll be here with Garrett on the Law. It'll be interesting. It always is, and we'll see what's going on with David. So, you know, well, let's just see. In any event, I'm not sure what's hanging up John Matthews. He should be, making noise here any time now. I'm not sure what that is. He you know, sometimes he gets out on a commercial break late, just like we do, and that kind of slows us down a little bit. Now, don't forget, we're going to be doing our tribute to no, that's not him. We're going to be doing our tribute to the late great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story later on in the show. Today's story is going to be Winchester Cathedral, and you're going to want to. Here we are. We are with John Matthews and Joe Hakos. Hey guys.
I'll sync this thing right here. That should be him right there. Is that you, Bob?
That be me, boys.
It's Bob Cardoza. How you doing? We were just commenting. This is probably the first time in a couple of months where we've met twice in 1 week, we've scheduled.
Well, you know what? It must be a political event that is going off the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say?
I'm not. You know what, Joe? I am so fed up with politics right now that I'm not ever trying to say anything again until January.
Well, they're writing this down, Bob, so why don't you go ahead and say it anyways? That way they can leave all the confusion out so they actually get it right.
Well, I'm having a real tough time because, Donald Trump continues to get castigated in the news, and they talk about, his charity and the fact that he used it for personal purposes, and then they absolutely stopped him from being able to use it in New York City. And then out comes the emails where the Clintons used theirs for multi-millions of dollars. I mean, big stuff. And you ask if the Attorney General is going to stop their charity. Well, hell no, they're not going to stop their charity because, after all, they're not subject to the same laws that you and me and everybody else are. And then, of course, these people, they keep leaking this stuff. Are you seeing much in the news about all this stuff about the Clintons and their improprieties and the things that are going on? It's almost like it doesn't exist.
Is there something going on with Hillary Clinton? Is she doing bad things, Bob? Is she doing things that aren't supposed to be allowed? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Well, what I'm trying to tell you is that everybody accepts it as normal and okay and standard, and I'm looking at it, and it looks to me like it's bad, but I must be wrong.
Yeah, I'm wondering, you're shocked and dismayed. I can't believe that, Bob, that you would be shocked and dismayed that Hillary Clinton is being accused of doing things that are not quite, proprietary or prosperous or legal. How's that?
Well, you know what? Joe, I just can't hardly. I wish that I had the wand, the magic wand that the Clintons have. Because if you and I did any of the things that they're doing, they'd throw us in jail. They wouldn't even give us an arraignment. They'd throw the key away. But all they do is wave their magic wand, and it's like it never happened. Except they get to keep the money.
Well, Bob, that would be great because all your customers would have loved it too, because you could have waved that magic wand and magically their taxes would have been done and they would have got so much money back. They would have just You could have ran for Senate and then president.
Oh yeah, you know what? I couldn't do any worse than what's going on right now, and what's probably going to happen in January. I mean,
Amen. Keep going. Yeah, Bob. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I like having an audience that appreciates my blunder.
I was kicking off your campaign, brother. I was kicking your campaign.
Well, I'm sitting back, and are you hearing anything? I'm not hearing anything about this travesty, this Obama travesty that he calls Obamacare. That's going to get a 25% increase. It's going to put people in the poorhouse. It's cheaper to pay the doggone penalty and not get the insurance than to get the insurance. In 26 states are going to limit this to only one provider, for God's sakes. This is all stuff everybody's been talking about for a long time. They say, no, this is not going to happen. It's the same doggone one that Hillary's got. I think she loans it to Barack Obama.
I think John has something to say about that.
Hey, John.
The first thing is we need to reiterate the truth here. And the truth is Obama is telling the public the truth. Obamacare is working exactly how it was designed. Okay, that it is true. That is true. It is working exactly how it was designed, and it was designed to implode the entire private sector healthcare system in order to put everybody in the single payer and government-run healthcare. So it is accomplishing exactly what it was designed to do. The thing that is the misleading, the lies of it is that when we have people like Austin, what's his guy's name? I can't remember that guy's name.
Austin Goolsbee. He's an economics guru, supposedly. At least in his mind, he is.
Yeah, he was Obama's former economic advisor, and probably the only guy in the Obama cabinet that really does have a good sense of humor. He's got some great jokes, but he was the one that described Congress as people that are not always flying with their seat in an upright position.
Well, but one of his greatest jokes is the guy he represents. That's Barack Obama.
So he's out there trying to spin, telling everybody that, this isn't really a big deal because it's only going to affect about 3% of the people enrolled in Obamacare because it only affects those people that are in the state exchanges. Now, the counter to it is, of course, what? The counter is that, well, even though the costs, and they're calling it premiums, but it's actually costs, and they're saying the costs are going to go up. So the premiums are going to go up with people who never enrolled in Obamacare through state exchanges. All right, and so that means their premiums are going to go up. That means, and the people that are in state exchanges don't have to worry about it because the cost increases will be subsidized. Okay, well, you tell me what that means. What does it mean when we subsidize?
That means that they're going to make sure that we feel the pain, and they're not even going to issue us a bottle of Vaseline.
Is taxpayers are going to pay for it.
Yeah.
The taxpayers are going to pay those subsidies so that the people that don't pay taxes don't have to worry about paying the subsidies. It's like this whole idea of the generality behind it. The great analogy that we've been using off and on again here over the last couple of weeks is like saying the relevancy and authenticity of the hacked emails from from Hillary's hacked emails or the DNC hacked emails are not real because they were stolen. Okay, they were stolen, so that means they're not real anymore.
What you're saying is actually more valid than what we would like everybody to believe. The truth is that's exactly what they're saying, and that's exactly what the American people are swallowing. They were stolen, so they have no validity. Well, who the hell ever said that? The fact that they may or may not have been stolen doesn't change the facts within them.
Oh, yeah, but you see, Democrats don't think that way. They don't think. They just digest. they just digest what's being fed to them. I can see I can see all these Democrats out there listening to CNN and MSNBC, and they're saying, and they have Clinton responding to something, or Donna Brazile responding to something, or Obama responding to something. Well, I'm not gonna address anything because the authenticity of these things are in question because they were hacked. And I can see the bobbleheads out there. I think that makes sense.
Exactly. You know, hey, the jewelry thieves in America have their defense now. Hey, I stole these jewels from the store. Now they're worthless.
You know what? It's like Kardashian's $10 million ring, right? It was stolen, so it's not really worth $10 million anymore. Why are you worried about this thing?
What you get when you publicize it like that? Hey, you put it on Instagram and everything. Hey, look, everybody, look at all my really expensive stuff.
Well, isn't that what Obama did? He publicized everything. Look at what you're going to get. You're going to get to keep your insurance company, and your premiums are going to go down, and we're going to insure the entire nation, and we're going to provide this wonderful manna from heaven for the whole world. Now look what's happening.
Oh, come on. There's only a few Americans going to be affected by this Obamacare premium hikes. Come on,
a few million.
What we're going to do, we got to go to a break. When we come back from the break, I've got this article from Avik Roy, who stood off against Austin, whatever the hell his name is. I can't remember. The guy's not relevant enough for me to learn how to pronounce the name. But they had a face-off on Megyn Kelly the other night.
Oh, and yes. Are you talking about the Newt Gingrich thing?
Oh, yeah. No, we're talking about Avik Roy. This guy's from Forbes magazine, Avik Roy, and he faced off against Austin over there on the other side as to whether or not Obamacare was actually going to affect the entire country, or was it just going to be this poor 3% that weren't going to have to pay it anyway because it was going to be subsidized. So I want to present these excuses to you. He wrote an article called "The Democrats' 5 Lamest Excuses for Obama's Care 22% premium hike," which is the average premium hike. We'll clarify back here, but we got to go to a break first.
All right. So, listen, when we come back, we'll be with Joe Hakos and John Matthews right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 78 degrees, starting to go down here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It is down from 81 degrees on its way to 62 degrees. And if you're listening to us, excuse me, on our globally syndicated network and you're in Rome, Italy, it's 50 degrees and clear. And in London, England, it's 54 degrees and overcast. Well, we're doing our simulcast with John Matthews and Joe Hakos. They'll be calling back in any moment now, and we'll get back on track with them. You know what? It's an interesting story. We're talking about Obama. We're talking about Clinton. We're talking about Trump. We're talking about everything that's not being talked about, and most of it's just all hot air that's being caused by the media. So we'll see what transpires there. They'll be calling in here in just about any second. And we'll be able to get to that. I want to remind you that we're going to be doing our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story a little bit later on in the show. And today's story is going to be Winchester Cathedral. You're not going to want to miss it. It's certainly not what you're expecting, I can tell you that. So, keep in mind that it's an intriguing part of our show, and we'll keep you up to date on what's happening with that. In any event, John should be calling in here any second here. Don't know what. Well, you know what? Just waiting for his commercial break to end, and we turn ours off a little bit early because in anticipation of him calling in. So we'll see what transpires here in just a moment. So he should be calling in any second or so. If I can get my throat cleared, then it'll be perfect. Anyway, let's see what else we got. Oh, you know what? And it's going to be raining. We got thunderstorms and lightning storms due here tonight and tomorrow. Unbelievable kind of stuff going on. So I don't know what's going on or what's happening here. So we'll see what transpires. So let's see here. They should be calling in any second. I'm not sure what's hanging us up here. They should be calling. Their commercials don't last that long, I don't think. I'm pretty sure they don't anyway. There he is. And we're back with John Matthews and Joe Hakos.
Yeah, well, we can understand we're being lied to. Hey, you know what? That sounds like Robert Cardoza from Robert Cardoza Live.
And it is. Joe, did you miss me?
You really did, Bob.
Oh, there he is. There's his name. I was trying to find his name. Okay, Austin Goolsbee faced against Avik Roy from Forbes. And they were talking about whether or not Obamacare, is in its final throes of death and this, that, and the other. And it was funny because Austin started the conversation off the same way that Obama has been starting it off. Obamacare is doing exactly, we now have 20 million people that have affordable health care. Now, I pointed out to you yesterday, those of you who were listening yesterday, that you notice the narrative has changed. It's no longer we have 20 million people or we have 10 million people or 11 million people who previously never had health insurance now have it. No, it's 20 million now have affordable health care. Of course, they're not telling you 11 million of those are people that have it subsidized. It's about 3% of the market obtained through state exchanges. We had 23 exchanges when we started. We've got 7 left. And what that done is it has triggered things like healthcare companies pulling out of states. Some people are only going to have one plan to choose from, one company to go to, all these things. But the other 9-10 million were people that were forced off their own healthcare plans because it didn't meet the requirements of Obamacare. So now we just group them all together, and this is the accomplishment. And besides, I thought it was 40 million people that needed insurance. So we've only got half of them, but it has accomplished what it's supposed to accomplish.
Well, that's interesting. I thought it was 320 million people that needed it, and then the employers got conned into offering insurance to well over half of those and their families. And the biggest problem is that Obamacare is a burden on all people who are insured because of the nature of Obamacare. The problem that exists is that because of Obamacare, prices are continuing to skyrocket. You know what? One of the things that Obamacare doesn't cover is the fact that there is a cure for hepatitis C. The cure actually costs, from what I understand, $120 per inoculation. It takes 85 inoculations to cure hepatitis C, which is fatal. However, Obamacare has allowed the insurance companies to be exempt from this. The guy bought the patent on that, raised the price from $120 to $1,000, so that Obamacare is the only outfit that's not exempt from paying this exorbitant windfall on that. Other insurance companies are refusing to pay it.
Yeah, see, and I've used my own situation here. My wife, Lourdes, has to take Novolin for diabetes. And when we were on Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then even on Medicare, she's on Medicare now. And even on Medicare, we were getting a 3-month supply of Novolin for $70. That was our copay. $70 for 3 months worth of insulin, and she takes it twice a day. All right. And so now, Obamacare kicks in, and we get notified by the company. She renews her prescription. They send us, they deliver the stuff to us. The clerk comes in here and whips out his little Visa iPad. He's going to charge it or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it was $700.
Holy cow!
And she goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, that's your copay because this Novolin is no longer covered under Obamacare. So your copay now is $700. That's a 700% increase.
Yeah.
Well, don't you know that premiums would be even higher if Obamacare hadn't passed?
Yeah, that's big here. Okay. Anyway, I'm digressing here, and I want to give Bob a shot at a couple of these things here. Austin Goolsbee, one of his arguments was that only very few Americans are going to be affected by Obamacare's premium hikes. He was claiming, he says the Obamacare, this is only for people who are buying their health coverage on the exchanges. It's around 3% of the country. Okay, that's what he was saying. Now, Avik Roy comes back and he says, no, the reason people aren't signing up for Obamacare through the state exchanges is because the premiums are simply too high. Plus, we know that, and we know that because 17 of the 23 exchanges have shut down because they couldn't stay open because of the financial aspects of being able to run the operation. He says most are affected because it's too expensive. People who buy individual market coverage off the exchanges also face the drastic premium hikes because they're going to be paying the subsidies to their premium hikes for the people that aren't going to be paying anything, that have the subsidies. So he says this is actually about 50 million of the Americans are going to be affected by this. What do you think, Bob?
Well, I think it's actually going to be greater than that. I think all Americans are going to be affected by this because that's the way insurance companies work. When you get down to one provider that's going to be there, that provider is going to control the ceiling on everything. And what winds up happening is that where they take it in the shorts in one place, they're going to pick it up someplace else. In this particular case, they're going to matriculate this whole thing. And all of those people that whether they're being paid by their employers, and I can tell you as an employer, my insurance rates would go up 100% in some years. And what I'd have to do is determine, okay, what am I going to trim out? I'm going to make the co-pays higher. I'm not going to cover some things. I got to get these premiums down so that as an employer I can afford it. And then the insurance company is going to do the same thing on their side. They're going to start raising prices on co-pays and prescriptions and other things. And it's not going to stop with just Obamacare. Obamacare is the trigger that is going to allow insurance companies to have carte blanche with what's going on because it has absolutely destroyed the free market.
Yeah. Now, once that happens, Rob, let me float this at you here. Once it comes down to, like, we know that there's some places down in Arizona who, by the way, the average premium increase in Arizona is going to be 145%. Wow. All right. Now, we've got some counties down there that healthcare providers have just pulled out and said we're not staying here because it's too much, and so some of them only have one choice to go to. Now, understanding the way the laws are written in this country and been written for a long time, if it comes down to where you only have one or two healthcare providers out there providing anything, can the government not come out now and say, "Hey, these are monopolies," and now the government can step in?
Well, yeah, they could do that, but when you talk about one choice, that's not a choice; it's a mandate.
Well, I'm just thinking
we already have monopolies in government. We're called the public utilities.
Oh yeah,
I get that. But what I'm getting at here, since Obama is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, according to President Obama. The idea is to implode. The idea is to either overburden the system, to drive healthcare providers out of the system, to put everything out there to some degree where the government now says we're the only ones that can save this.
What the government is going to do is they're going to implode the insurance companies. The government is going to become self-insuring, and they're going to hire the insurance companies to manage all of the policies. And the insurance companies will make their money that way.
Yeah, so then what we'll have is overglorified Kmart clerks handling our stuff.
Yep.
That's what's going to go. We're out of time here. We're out of time. Really out of time here. I want to just encourage everybody to check Bob's show out at robertcardozalive.com. He's on the same time we are, 3 to 5 out here in the left coast and 6 to 8 on the east coast. I got to cut you short here, Bob.
Have a great weekend, guys. We'll talk to you on Monday.
Thanks, Bob.
Hey, you know what? The rest of you folks, stick around, because when we come back, we're going to be with David Garrett on the law. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the bowels of the Hall of Justice, our own legal guru, David Garrett, attorney at law.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:02 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 61 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Vienna, Austria, well, it's 52 degrees and there's some light rain. And if you're in Madrid, Spain, it's 63 degrees and it is clear. Well, you know what? We've had a little bit of a problem. David Garrett isn't going to be able to get in here today for some reason, and I'm not sure I know what that reason is. But in any event, if he could have, he would have called in. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of fill in a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to look at some different places here, and I'm looking it up right now as we speak. And I thought we might talk about the technological industry right now, just for a little bit. And the first thing up are the users are mourning, or they mourn as Twitter kills a quirky beloved Vine video app. And so that's kind of where we're going to be right now. So let me tell you a little bit about it. You can watch any video for 6 seconds played on an infinite loop. Now, the funniest ones only get more ridiculous with repetition. That was the beauty of Vine, the simple pioneering mobile video app that Twitter has decided to kill off. Now, its loyal users are mourning its weirdness, humor, and creativity boosting constraints. There are alternatives, sure, but nothing as simple as Vine, which did just one thing, and that one thing well. Instagram has photos and videos of all sorts. Snapchat keeps expanding features, and it isn't really meant for mindless scrolling or humorous content. Facebook, well, we all know Facebook, right? And Vine's demise is a story of what happens when a cool, edgy, but money-losing service fails to take off with the mistakes amid competition from heavyweight rivals. Now, on the other hand, had Vine gained mass popularity, it might have lost its edge. Now, the essence of what made Vine Vine, and instead got gobbled up by big brands and sanitized into mainstream, a bit like what's happened to Twitter or Instagram. Vine's a scary, unique app in that it requires the smallest amount of attention. Watching YouTube videos, reading Facebook, all of those things are going on. So you know what? I got a message from David Garrett, and I'm going to see if I can't actually get him here. Let's try it again. Now, let's see. I'm just going to tell him to please. Okay, he's trying to call in. Let's see if he gets in here. I'm not sure what his issue is, but he might be able to call in. And let's see if we get him. I missed him when I was in the middle of this stuff with Vine. He should be calling in any second, and then we'll get him. So while I'm waiting, I actually have to look at the computer, I guess, while I'm doing this. Can't talk at the same time. So here we are with David Garrett on the law. Even though I thought I was missing him today, I guess I wasn't. Hey, David, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing terrific. Are you in your office, or are you out in a tunnel somewhere?
No, I'm out here I'm in the office. I was texting and calling at the same time, so it was on a speakerphone for a second.
You know what? And you were trying to get into me, but I had already decided that for some reason you weren't be able to get in today, and so I was covering it, and I wasn't paying attention to the board. I was trying to pay attention to the content that I was doing, and then all of a sudden I saw your name pop up, so I apologize for not answering the phone on a timely basis.
Oh, not at all. It was my fault. I called a minute or two late.
Shame on you.
I know.
Hey, listen, you're not going fishing this weekend in the rain, are you?
No. I think I'm going to hang around, stay dry.
That makes sense. You know, one of the things that I wanted to ask you about, it actually kind of pertains to the law. It just aggravates me a little bit, David. And that is, we have Donald Trump, who abused his, his foundation. And, he was buying 6-foot pictures and doing things, and just really generally abusing the foundation. And so the Attorney General of New York shut down his foundation. Now they come out, and it's not getting as much notoriety as I would think it should get. But the Clintons have done the same thing, and they've arranged for Bill Clinton to get paid, Bill Clinton Inc. to get paid $66 million over a 9-year period, and still owe him $150 million after that. And Hillary Clinton is sort of like pay for play kind of stuff. And I'm wondering why the Attorney General hasn't closed that foundation down, because we're talking about a pittance compared to, what the Clintons have millions and millions and millions of dollars involved in this scam, where Trump was just a pittance of that. I'm this disparity, the fact that these Clintons seem to have some kind of a magic wand that exempts them from the same laws that you, me, and Trump have to comply with. How does that happen? How does an Attorney General not have to answer for this?
Well, the long and short of it is, it's really just a political position, and he decides what what he's going to focus on. I suspect the IRS ought to get in there and look at the tax exempt status of one, if not both of them. Under that private inurement idea.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure what state the Clinton Foundation was formed in. Is it in New York also?
Yeah, it's in New York also.
Yeah, then this is all political.
Yeah,
just solely political.
It just irks me. It just in all the stuff. I was talking to John Matthews just a little bit earlier, and I was telling him that I've gotten to where I'm nauseated, frustrated, incensed. I don't even want to hear about politics anymore. I'm just fed up with the whole thing because it's all just one big phony game, and the people don't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's. This presidential election has exposed a lot of things that the dirty underbelly of government, in my opinion. There's just craziness going on all over.
Yeah.
Did you see the newest thing with Hillary and her emails now?
Yeah, I mean that's what yes. Where Podesta was writing back and forth with the head of her campaign, and they were deciding what they were going to say and how they were going to say it and that stuff. Is that what you're talking about?
No, there's a new one. Sometime in the last couple hours, the FBI's reopened the investigation. Oh
yes, I did see that. So is that normal? I mean, they shut the investigation down. They didn't exonerate her. They said that she lied and she was guilty, but they decided not to pursue it. And then now all of a sudden, Comey is going to open it back up again.
Yeah, they must have found some pretty damning information on this Anthony Weiner and
his wife's.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, so the FBI is going to investigate this thing. We're 2 weeks away from the election. What are they going to do? I mean, whether we like it or we don't like it, it looks to me like Hillary Clinton's going to be the next president. And so what happens when she's occupying the White House? How much due diligence is the FBI going to actually do with this?
That's a very good question. I think there'll probably be some congressional oversight, and it'd be kind of interesting to have her get elected and then find out something was really rotten in Denmark and have an impeachment within a month or two of her taking office.
But can you impeach a president for something that was done before they were president?
Good question. I'm not 100% positive. I would think that some felony convictions would probably cause him a big problem.
Yeah, because Bill Clinton got impeached because he was a president when he committed these indiscretions with Monica Lewinsky. But but in this case, everybody seems to know what's wrong, and nobody's doing anything about it. Are they going to wait till she becomes president, and then at that point, then why doesn't she just pardon herself, for Pete's sake?
I know, there's a good idea. I'm just kind of sitting there waiting for Obama to issue a blanket pardon to her, and
Yeah, I mean, what is it? 10 days before the election? 11 days? 10 days, I guess it is. And this is silly. I just don't get it, and I think that the handwriting is on the wall. I think it's with 10 days left to go, nothing's going to change. I don't know about you, but I've already voted. I couldn't change that vote if I wanted to. So if Donald Trump were to go out and commit mass murder, unfortunately, he's already got my vote. I can't do anything about it.
I know. This has been such a crazy political season. I don't even know what to say about this. I haven't voted yet. I kind of have reservations about this, pre-date voting idea, but I can see that ought to happen for people overseas and everything else. I just don't even know. It just seems like in a lot of cases, the way and the manner in which our voting process is handled is designed to show bias to whichever particular entity happens to be running any one particular state. So,
oh yeah, and you know what? I mean, we're supposed to be a technologically advanced country, and although there's a lot of countries more technologically advanced than we are, but we're supposed to be a very powerful, technologically advanced country. We can't even standardize the methods of voting. I mean, if you vote in Arizona, you vote a different way than you do if you're in California. If you're in California, they have a different process than they do than they have in Nevada. What the hell? It's America. It's the United States. Why don't we have some standardized procedures that are controlled by the federal government and not the states?
Well, you'd think that would exist,
or at least from a federal level ballots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that ought to exist. You ought to prove you're a citizen and eligible to vote.
Yeah.
I don't know how you're going to do it, but they ought to come up with some method that people can comply with that.
Well, David, if we
vote and go on.
Yeah, David, if we can find a mad cow in the middle of Wisconsin someplace, we can't figure out if somebody's a citizen.
I don't know. There was one time I hadn't registered to vote, and I wanted to anyway. Mm-hmm. And what they asked me to do was bring in a copy of my utility bill, and they would allow me to do a preliminary vote and then tell me later whether it was accepted or not.
Really?
I mean, yeah, it was just bizarre.
So we get a couple of million people doing that. We could control this thing.
Yeah, just crazy.
Yeah. It's just amazing what is going on in the world today. And I mean, even though I had said standardize the voting, I understand that the states have their own votes and the local governments have their own votes, and so it's kind of hard. But at least the procedure could be standardized, not necessarily not put on the internet, because I think we've learned a lesson with that. We don't want to put it on the internet. We don't want to put it anywhere where it can be fooled around with. But there ought to be a procedure that protects the vote so that. But it's standardized. I mean, you know what? I just don't understand what the big argument is about proving that you're a United States citizen, for God's sakes. You know what? This is a privilege. To be able to vote is a right and a privilege. It's a right you get because you're a citizen. And the thing is if you can't prove that you're a citizen, you shouldn't be able to vote.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So this is just baloney.
What is it now? Everybody has to have a Social Security number by age 2 or something like that.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. If you have a child, you are not allowed to claim that child on your tax return as a dependent until that child has a Social Security number.
Yeah. I mean, they're already forcing us all to identify who we are and give us a number and everything else. Why can't that same kind of thing be used to protect the fundamental right to vote?
Well, it seems to me if we all have a Social Security number, if we're a citizen, or we at least have a PIN number, then that is the tag that would prove that you're a citizen.
Yeah.
They just, I mean, how long would it take you to pop that number in a computer and say, yep, he's a U.S. citizen?
Yeah.
Or she, and then I'm totally opposed to this. Let's make it harder for people to vote. Let's have less voting stations. You know what? It shouldn't be hard. The truth is, I've voted with an absentee ballot for the last 25, 30 years, something like that. It's convenient. It's easy. I've never understood why the whole country doesn't do that. There shouldn't be an issue. And then it dawned on me, the whole country doesn't do that because not every state offers it.
Right.
And some states let you do it online. That's a scary thought. Other states let you do it by mail. Other states let you go into the polling place 1-2 weeks early or a month early in some cases and vote. This is such a haphazard thing. I don't understand why it hasn't been abused long before this.
Yeah. And, I think my thing with the mail-in ballots and everything is I would like to see a cutoff. At some point, this is when all the votes are going to be in. This is when we vote. I mean, if we want to go absentee, vote it, send it in. But, pick a day that we're going to mail in our ballots or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Your ballot must be at the voters registration area on a specific date, which means that you need to file. It needs to be postmarked on or before a certain date.
Yeah, and I remember some of these elections where the armed forces votes are coming over, and either the boat's going slow or something.
Yeah.
And didn't this happen in the problem with Bush and
Gore,
inventor of the internet?
Yeah, Bush and Gore, yeah. Hey, listen, David. We got to take a short break. You didn't get much airtime this time, but we'll get you for a full segment coming up here right after this break. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with David Garrett on the law right after these brief messages. Do not go away, and we'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:23 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's getting warmer. It's 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 59 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Tokyo, Japan, well, you know what? It's 59 degrees and a little bit cloudy. And if you're in Sydney, Australia, it's 72 degrees with scattered clouds. But I'll tell you, no rain clouds over the head of our own David Garrett on the law. Hey, David, you're back on the microphone, buddy.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I did prepare something I think a little bit interesting for you here.
Okay.
And it has to do with the Supreme Court taking up this question of gender identity and the use of restrooms as it relates to the school environment. So,
and this is kind of right after this 11-year-old boy, right?
Well, this one's after a 17-year-old.
Oh, so this is not the transgender deal?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh.
I'll blow through it real quick.
Okay.
It's, you got a 17-year-old biologic female, and she enrolls in high school. And apparently, at some point in between her freshman and sophomore year, she decides she wants to be referred to as a male, though they say this had been going on for a long period of time in her life. They have a meeting with the school, the principal, and everybody, and they say, okay, we're going to let you change your name from a female gender name to a male gender name. We're going to tell the instructors to use that name when addressing you. We're going to do everything we can to accommodate you. And then they get to the use of bathroom facilities, and they agreed, the student's mother and the school agreed that she'll use the nurse's restroom when she needs to do her thing. And so this is going along fine, and then all of a sudden the student decides, no, I want to use the male's restroom. And this starts a little bit of a furor down there. So what happens is they go back and forth. They have a school board meeting. The school board makes a statement of how we're going to accommodate all students. In addition, we're going to create 3 unisex bathrooms there, secure for anybody that wants to use them, be a male, female, transgender, or whatever it is. This particular student hadn't undergone a gender change, but was taking hormone therapy. And the student decides, well, this isn't going to work good for me because I still feel stigmatized if I have to use the unisex bathrooms that are available on campus. This prompts the school board to, seek guidance from the Department of Education. And they write a letter after coming up with this program that is responded to by an acting deputy assistant secretary for policy in the department's office of civil rights. And basically this is the first time you get a writing out of the Board of Education that says discrimination on the basis of sex, including gender identity, is not right. And it says that the regulations permit providing sex-segregated restrooms, locker rooms, shower facilities, etc., under certain circumstances, that the students must be treated consistent with the gender identity. So this case brought up a lot of very interesting concepts here from a constitutional.
Now, are we talking about a girl who identifies herself as a boy, who wants to go to the boys' bathroom and in the boys' gym, into the showers and stuff? Has she had her plumbing changed? Or, this is going to be really bad, right?
Yeah, no, she hadn't had the plumbing changed. And the girl really only wanted to go to use the men's bathroom. But the thing that comes out of the Department of Education from this assistant undersecretary or whatever the heck it was, basically says, shower too, everything else.
Wow.
So this runs around through the courts for a while. And the interesting thing here from a constitutional standpoint is, how does the court rule on this thing based on the agency's interpretation of a statute? And apparently there's a case out there called Auer that says we give deference to an agency's own interpretation of regulations, of its own regulations, to the extent it's not clearly erroneous or in direct conflict with the legislation. So you have a letter by somebody relatively low in the Department of Education sending a letter out with their opinion. It's not formally adopted at the time by the Department of Education, but the courts say, okay, well, that's not clearly erroneous, so we're going to give deference to the agency's interpretation of its regulations. So the appeal goes up, and during the course of appeal, there's a couple more letters are written, but for purposes of constitutional law here, the thing that is extremely interesting here is the argument that you have an agency that writes an own letter which just happens to be that opinion of this person in the agency that is apparently reflective of the administration's position at this point in time, and that position could change when a new administration comes in. It could go all over the place, but in essence, they're enacting laws, taking over the duty of the courts to interpret the law, as well as the duty of the Congress to enact laws simply by the way they interpret this particular statute.
So the courts are interpreting the law based on the school district's opinion of what it means.
The Department of Education.
Department of Education. I mean, isn't it kind of backward? Isn't the Supreme Court? Do they make decisions based on an instant, or do they make a decision based on the Constitution?
Well, they make a decision based on the Constitution.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let me read this provision to you. Title IX says, no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded, and it goes on from participation and everything else. This was enacted, I think back in the 60s, if I remember right. So at the time Congress enacted it, the definition of sex was pretty standard.
Yeah.
I mean, you're either male or you're female. Now we get here, 45, 50 years later, and we have an agency even overruling what Congress's intent was when they passed the law and changing the term basis of sex to mean basis of sex or gender identity. And, quite candidly, those terms are somewhat inconsistent, because gender identity has nothing to do with biological sex.
Right.
And that's where the problem comes in. So,
you know what? I just don't understand what the big deal is. If you were born a female, and you feel like you should be a male, and you just don't have the plumbing and you're not going through all that stuff, then you know what? If you don't want to use the girls' bathroom, then the only ones that's available to you is the unisex bathroom. There shouldn't be an issue. There shouldn't be a stand. You got to go to the boys' bathroom. You know what? If you don't have the plumbing, you don't get to use the plumbing.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that interpretation. I think I'd hate to think we're in a situation where you've got, what are the kids in high school running 14 to 18, and now all of a sudden you got a bunch of 14-year-old biologically girls in the men's.
You got these 14, 15, 16-year-old girls in the men's bathroom with all these horny young kids, right?
Yeah, they're taking showers together, everything else, vice versa. A guy decides my identity is female, so he goes in the female's bathroom.
Man, I'd do it.
Not sure. Yeah.
I'd stand in line for Pete's sake. I'd see if I couldn't get admitted to an all-girls school. That eliminates the competition, right?
Oh yeah, you know. Maybe we'll have a line at the makeup counter on the way in.
Yeah. You know,
hey, we're going to school today, guys. Let's put on our lipstick.
Well, you know, David, why does everything have to be a catastrophic decision? I mean, you know what? If you're a girl, but you feel like you should be a boy, and that's the way you really feel, fine. Do take the hormones or don't take them. Do whatever you got to do. But you know what? Until such time as you're able to or not get that plumbing changed, then you either go to the girls' bathroom or you go to the unisex bathroom, but you do not get to go into the boys' bathroom or the boys' gym or anything else until that plumbing is appropriate.
Yeah, that's the rational approach here. But unfortunately, we don't have, in my opinion, rational people a lot of times up in government.
Oh, that's an understatement, David.
You know, and the thing that is so disturbing to me here, and this is the issue that I think the Supreme Court will deal with, is why should deference be given to some undersecretary's letter where, you know, the normal Administrative Procedures Act is you're promulgating rules and things of that nature. You got to publish them, have an opportunity for public comment, and all those things that go in before they become regulations. Here it's just a letter that's being given deference by somebody relatively low on the totem pole with such a wide effect in the United States. It would seem to me that rational interpretation of our Constitution would say, no, really, if we're going to have these kind of issues raised, our elected officials who represent the country at large should make those decisions. And if not them, the Supreme Court or the courts ought to be the ones interpreting what the statute means, as opposed to some individual stuck away in an administrative position. I just have some real struggles with the power that is usurped or given to the executive branch by this administrative letter process.
Yeah.
And I sure hope the Supreme Court in this case deals with this issue head on, because it's not just the gender issue that's presented in this case. These kinds of things can happen in every single administrative agency out there.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, enough of my soapbox for today, but
hey, soapboxes are good, especially since I feel like I haven't talked to you in 3 months.
It's been a little while. We've been both running all over the place. I was up in Idaho last weekend trying to get stuff winterized and missed you then.
Well, yeah, and between you and me, and then I've been doing a little bit of traveling, and then different events and things going on. It just seems like Fridays are the best time for that to happen. Fridays or Mondays are the best time for that to happen, and so it's made it difficult. But I'm glad we're back together, David.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, this is an interesting case.
Oh yeah, and it's a long way from resolution.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least we got it the group that ought to be deciding it anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if we could just get an odd number of justices in the Supreme Court so that we don't have a log jam, we'd be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
You know, or require one of the justices to recuse themselves if it comes to a tie.
Yeah. Go to 7.8.
Yeah. All right, my friend. Hey, listen, stay safe, be good. I guess you're not going to get your feet wet this weekend. Well, you might if you go outside and it's raining, but other than that, stay safe and keep everybody around you happy.
Hey, I will. And Bob, have a great weekend there, and I'll talk to you next Friday.
All right, my friend. Thank you very much. The rest of you folks, stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to be dealing with the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We got a lot of great show left for you, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 58 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Auckland, New Zealand, well, it's 63 degrees and it's cleared. If you're listening to us in Hong Kong, it is 75 degrees and partly cloudy. But right now, I want to talk to you about the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is make the most of board discussions. Boards play a critical role in governing a company, yet many of them meet for less than 10 hours a year. So it's vital that directors use that time well. Board papers should be sent out at least 4 working days in advance to give directors time to read, digest, and prioritize. Each director should identify the 1 or 2 challenges or comments that they want to make at each board meeting. There won't be time to comment on every issue, so focus on what you think is most important and where you can add the most value. If there are more than 2 discussions that you want to bring up, don't spring them on your colleagues. Submit your list to the chair in advance so that they can decide which to address at the meeting and which to address in other ways. During the meeting, resist the urge to chime in on every topic and be careful about prolonging discussions that your fellow directors initiate. Your goal as a group is to be thorough and efficient. Yeah, that just makes sense, doesn't it? Sure it does. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life. This is all about a positive mental attitude. You do control your life in every single way. You decide if you're going to be happy, sad, rich, poor, if you're going to be a success or a failure. You decide that every morning when you get up and you look in the mirror and you say, wow, I'm going to have a magnificent, productive, profitable day, and I'm going to make everybody around me happy. Well, you know what? Our secret for today is when I discovered the secret, everything in my life, including the state of my company, was totally transformed because I changed the way that I was thinking. As my accountants continued to fuss about the figures and focus on that, I kept my mind focused on abundance and all being well. I knew with every fiber of my being that the universe would provide, and it did. It provided in ways that I could not have imagined. I had my moments of doubt, but when the doubt came, I immediately moved my thoughts to the outcome of what I wanted. I gave thanks for it. I felt the joy of it. And I believed. Yeah. Isn't that the truth? It sure is. Well, you know what? Let's talk about what happened today. You know what today is, sure? Everybody should know what today is. It's really an important day. It's somebody's birthday. It's October the 28th. And you know what? We've got some momentous birthdays today. And I don't say that lightly. Here's a fellow who was born in 1955, chairman of Microsoft. He is ranked consistently one of the world's wealthiest people. Happy birthday, Bill Gates. And a lady that was born in 1967, actress, became well known during the early 90s after starring in the romantic comedy Pretty Woman opposite Richard Gere. Happy birthday, Julia Roberts. And then finally, a fellow born in 1974, an actor who is from a family of performers, which includes his older brother, the late River Phoenix. Happy birthday, Joaquin Phoenix. Well, you wonder what was going on today in history? Don't have to wonder anymore because I'm going to tell you right now. On October the 28th, 1886, in New York Harbor, President Grover Cleveland dedicates the Statue of Liberty. And in 1893, Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 6 in B minor, Panthonique, receives its premiere performance in St. Petersburg only 9 days before the composer's death. And then finally, in 1942, the Alaska Highway, the Alcan Highway, is completed through Canada to Fairbanks, Alaska. Well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from Dennis and Wendy Mannering, and they say, attitudes are contagious. Are yours worth catching? Well, that's something to think about, isn't it? Yeah, it most certainly is. Well, you know what? Time for us to do some interesting but useless facts. We've got more time than we normally have for this, so let's get right to it. Did you know that the flushing toilet was invented in 1596? Not by Thomas Crapper, as most people think, but by Sir John Harrington. There you go. You could win that one. How about this? The reason why the Canadian Arctic is called the land of the midnight sun is because during the summer, many communities have light 24 hours a day. Many people have to cover their windows with tinfoil to keep the light out when they sleep. I know that that's a fact. Been there, done that. Hey, do you know that tigers can easily jump over 5 meters in length? Yeah, that's That's about, 15 feet, a little bit more. That's something. That's quite a bit. How about this one? Did you know that Gene Sarazen, a golfer from several generations ago, set the record for the fastest golf drive, 120 miles an hour? You know what? You wouldn't think that would be the fastest, but who am I to doubt it, right? Did you know that Guam has 7 public elementary schools? Only 7. Doesn't sound like much to me. Here's one for you. There is a sea squirt found in the seas near Japan that digests its own brain. Now, when the sea squirt is mature, it prematurely attaches itself to a rock. At this point, it does not need to move anymore and has no need for a brain. That's kind of interesting if you think about it. Kind of sad, too. Did you know that in playing poker, there is one chance in 500 of drawing a flush? Yeah. How about a royal flush? That's got to be astronomical. Did you know that an earthquake on December the 16th, 1811, caused parts of the Mississippi River to flow backwards? Wow. Can you imagine that? Wow. Let me give you another one. The world record frog jump is 33 feet, 5.5 inches over the course of 3 consecutive leaps, achieved in May 1977 by a South African sharp-nosed frog called Sanji. Yeah. I don't know where these guys get these things. Can you imagine staying up nights trying to figure out some of these, interesting but useless facts? That's nuts. Did you know that when cats are pleased or content, they squeeze their eyes shut? Now that you mention it, I think I did know that. I just didn't know what was going on. How about this? In 2004, the Japanese Ice Cream Association promoted raw horse flesh ice cream in hopes that it would boost the popularity of ice cream. Oh, man, these guys are never going to get it. How about this one? The 16th century astronomer Tycho Brahe, lost his nose in a duel with one of his students over a mathematical computation. He wore a silver replacement nose for the rest of his life. And then, let me leave you with this. St. Petersburg, Florida once had 427 consecutive days of sunshine. Now that is something worth remembering. Now, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. So don't go away. We're going to be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what time it is? Yeah, it's 4:54 p.m. Pacific time. Still 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 61 degrees. But if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Auckland, New Zealand, it's 63 degrees and it's clear. If you're in, you know what, I'm in the wrong spot here. I think if you're in Lisbon, Portugal, it's 75 degrees and it's a little bit scattered clouds. And in Wichita, Kansas, 79 degrees and mostly cloudy. But right now, let's get to our tribute. That's what we want to be doing. Yes, sir. This is our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. You know, Paul is the biggest and best voice in America, revealing the startling heartbeats behind the scenes in the headlines. Let's get right to today's story. It's called Winchester Cathedral. You know, this is the kind of story that ought to be saved for a campfire or for a cold, rainy night. Remember when you pass it along. Sarah was an heiress, a woman with money, lots of it, and she was alone. She had little family to begin with. Her only child, Annie, died at 5 weeks. Then her husband passed away, and Sarah, the Society Belle of New Haven, Connecticut, was without anyone. You know what? The year was 1884. Sarah had her $20 million inheritance and her additional income of $1,000 a day. But for a woman of 47, a woman childless, a woman with only memories of love, the money seemed little comfort indeed. 16 years before the turn of the century, Sarah left New Haven and moved across the continent to San Jose, California. She bought an 8-room farmhouse from a doctor named Caldwell. It was there that Sarah would live alone until she died. What happened during those mysterious 38 years really is the rest of the story. Immediately after purchasing her farmhouse, Sarah bought 160 surrounding acres. Then she called a team of 16 carpenters and started to work. A remodeling project that was underway that would keep craftsmen working around the clock, every day, including holidays, for 38 years. It became obvious to the workmen from the very beginning that this project was more than the whim of an eccentric heiress. There was an eerie tinge to each of her instructions. For instance, each window must have 13 panes, each wall 13 panels, each closet 13 hooks, each chandelier 13 globes. There were plans for miles of winding corridors, some leading nowhere. One door would open on a blank wall, another on a 50-foot drop. One set of stairs would lead into the closed ceiling. Peculiar, I should say, and chilling designs like the spider web and the pentagram were everywhere. There would be rooms riddled with trap doors and an infinity of secret passageways, and one particular blue room, to be entered only by the widow Sarah. It was obvious from the very beginning that this was to be more than an estate of oddities for the restless recluse. It was to be an occult cathedral, a home for the dead. In a short while, a bell tower was erected. Every night at midnight, the trusted servant would descend into the underground labyrinth and make the only passageway connection to the tower. Then he'd ring the solitary bell to call in the spirits, and Sarah would enter the blue room. At 2 a.m., the servant would ring the bell again, bidding the ghosts to return to their graves. On and on every night for 38 years. Construction of this poltergeist palace did not end until at last Sarah died at 85. By that time, the house had spread over 6 acres of the estate, had 160 rooms, 10,000 windows, 467 doors, 52 skylights, 47 fireplaces, 40 stairways, 13 bathrooms, and 6 kitchens. While Sarah was alive, her carpenters and servants never saw their mistress as anything but a slight veiled figure, not even 5 feet tall. She must have seemed a ghost herself, flitting about the monstrous peopleless mansion. Sarah lived her life for the dead, and one moonlit night, she joined them. If you're ever in San Jose, you can take a tour of that house, but only by day, for tour guides don't venture into the mansion at night. Frightening noises, they say, and caretakers confirm that there are still sounds of heavy breathing, still footsteps in the otherwise midnight silence. If it's true, they belong to the widow Sarah Winchester and the legion of phantoms that she's befriended out of guilt. You see, her inheritance came from the Winchester rifle, the weapon that killed more Indians and more U.S. soldiers than any other in the nation's early history. Sarah built her mansion so they would have a home. And now you know the rest of the story. Well, have a great weekend. On Monday, we'll do our show. We'll join John Matthews and Joe Hakels again here for our semi-weekly simulcast. And then John Hansen will be here, that little old wine drinker. We'll be talking about food and wine. And then I'll continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. In the meantime, tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. You'll be glad you did. They'll be glad you did. And I will be glad that you did, too.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.